even if it's a, seemingly failure or setback, it's only so you can learn and grow and be better. And, maybe you're not getting what you want now, but maybe because you're getting something you really need for the future, or something's preparing you for something so much better than you could even imagine.
Hey, I'm Ronja Sakata, founder of the Joy Academy and Queen of Joy. That's how my friends call me. It's so important to me that my life is full of joy and that I enjoy every moment, because I know how fast it could be over. We can do so many things to bring joy in our lives, to create joy, and that's what this podcast is all about. I talk with people and they tell me how they bring joy to their everyday life and how they create a life full of joy. So let's dive right in, and please tell me after the episode what your takeaway is from this talk. Welcome, Terri Wade, to this episode. I'm so happy that you are here. I don't remember, did we see us in person like 2 years ago or nearly 3 years, and now we connect like this again? And it's just so good that this technology is making things like that possible. And let's talk about you and what you do, what's important to you, and how do you create joy in your everyday life, and what brings you joy. Like, these are slightly different things, I think.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's such a pleasure seeing you again. So my name is Terri Wade, and I'm a life and a business coach for entrepreneurs and executives. And I really want to help people connect to their soul purpose here on earth. Even, I feel we very much are spirit, and then, we have a purpose and a passion that we want to live out here on earth. And so one of my passions is to help people transform their mindset, their lifestyle, and really live a life of freedom. That's always just been so big for me. I've been on a search for like truth, and I really want to live, my life like in the way I want to live it, right? We have this one life here. And so I want to encourage other people and inspire others to do what they love, whatever brings them joy, right? As you say. Yeah, that's been my mission and my purpose, is just inspiring others to do really what lights them up. I think we have so much power and such a beautiful, bright light that we are meant to share with the whole world. That's our own unique purpose. So that's what I help bring out in others. And that's been my business for the last couple of years now. So it's been such a pleasure.
So I definitely can see that brings you joy, your business. And what else is like that brings me so much joy? Like little things in your everyday life, or how do you really create consciously, like you choose to do it this way so that it brings you joy? Do you have some like stories, examples, like, yeah, that's important to me and this is important to me?
Yeah. Well, I love to dance. And so that brings me so much joy. So just listening to a good song and just dancing, just being silly and dancing, that really brings me a lot of joy. I think everyone has like a creative way of expressing themselves, and movement and dance is definitely one of mine. So that definitely brings me joy. And I love like just laughing. I mean, I think, laughing is like, medicine for the soul. So yeah, just to being goofy, listening to some comedy, putting on some good music. That's probably what brings me joy. I have a little cat and a dog, and they've become best friends now. So my kittens and she's so cute. They're so cute together. And so it's, just finding joy in everything and all the small things. I really live like in an attitude of gratitude. So I look for the good in pretty much everything. So I can find joy and really everything. Looking at a flower, I love watching the sunrise and the sunset. I think the most beautiful things in life are free. So the love you feel with your partner or your parents or your best friends. So really just in cherishing all those moments that you get to be with your loved ones, and just finding the silly or the joy and whatever it is that you get to look at. If it's a beautiful flower, I always smell the roses. There's a pretty rose bush on the side of the street where I always walk my dog, and so I always make sure I just take a big whiff and just bask in the beautiful smell that brings.
Yeah, and with this focus, I think life is just bloomingly beautiful, but you could focus on all the bad things happening in the same, everything is the same, but you just feel desperate. And how do you if I'm totally down and I see all the negative, how do you approach like to help me? Or what would you say to all the people listening now? Like, yeah, hello, we are in 2020 and like, how can you be so joyful? That's kind of like offending people. How do
Oh
you
my
how do you see that?
Yeah, it's so funny. I know. I think, yeah, people, I think we both I'd watched one of your videos and someone just says like, why are you so happy? Or how are you so happy? And people ask me the same thing too. And what I would tell someone is, just really focusing on what they're grateful for. That always like shifts your focus. I think Tony Robbins talks about that a lot. But you can't be like sad and depressed and grateful at the same time. Your brain just can't process both states. So yeah, I think it's just, going back to gratitude. And even if it's the smallest thing, like some people think it needs to be some big catastrophic, like, I got a promotion or, I found the love of my life. Like it can just be the smallest thing. Like I have clean water. Like I'm so grateful for that. Not everyone has that. Even just a running toilet. I mean, that's kind of a luxury, that most people take for granted when you think about that. So yeah, I would just say shifting your focus to gratitude, and then also really like being in the vibration that, like, I feel like that really raises your vibration when you're in that attitude of gratitude and you're focusing on the good and the joy, and then thinking about what you love. Like for me, love is like the essence of life. Like I feel like, we are created in like the image of God, but created out of love. And so that's our whole, point of being, is just to love, be loved, extend love. So really focusing on like, yeah, like what does bring you joy? Like what do you love? And, just shifting your focus to something you're grateful for, something that you love doing. And I know when people are really, really down in the dumps, like there's this lady, Abraham Hicks, I don't know if you've heard of her. Oh my gosh, I love her. And I just love her. And so yeah, listening to inspirational, piece, that'll get you up. But what she says is holding the feeling for 17 seconds. So say that you're in a down place, like holding the feeling of, if you weren't in a down place, like, maybe you're putting yourself maybe like on the beach is my favorite place to be. So, maybe I'm like putting myself on the beach and I'm listening to the waves crash and I feel the breeze and the sunshine and, just like holding that space and that feeling for 17 seconds, and that kind of raises your vibration. But what she says is like, you don't want to go from down in the dumps to all of a sudden like, like this is the best day of my life. Like you're gonna first kind of start like, because she'll be like, you can't get there from there. So it's like you start with, okay, well, like, okay, so I'm feeling really down in the dumps, but yeah, I do have a running toilet. I'm feeling down in the dumps, but I do have some water. I'm feeling down in the dumps, but I've been in this, similar kind of situation before and I got out of it. So I'm probably going to get out of it again. And then once I get out of it, then I can, go grab a Starbucks coffee or, like, just kind of like little, incremental baby steps to kind of like get you out of that funk. I'd say.
I love Abraham Hicks. I have them on like on YouTube, and when I do my makeup in the morning, this is a good day to have a good day. And it's just like brainwashing you in a good mood, and it never fails because I love it's so genuine. It's not like you have to do this, otherwise you fail, or it's so free. I like you said, freedom is my my goal, and I love when teachings are open and you can make it your own and not like this or sorry, you're not doing it right. I love them.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful. And what I like is that they're really, the spiritual, that she's tapping into is, I think when you have that knowing, like, Abraham really talks about like, being in the vortex and, the universe always wants good for you. It's always working out in your favor. So I think when you have that understanding and knowing that everything is pushing you towards the better direction, like everything's always working out for our good and everything's conspiring on our behalf to be better. So I think when you have that understanding that that's kind of the truth, that, so it's not, even if it's a, seemingly failure or setback, it's not, it's only so you can learn and grow and be better. And, maybe you're not getting what you want now, but maybe because you're getting something you really need for the future, or something's preparing you for something so much better than you could even imagine. And so I think knowing that is a really, helpful tool for bringing joy and just living out a happier lifestyle.
And what do you say if people say like, yeah, that's just daydreaming and having the the rose tint glasses, or how do you say that in English? If you have a
Yeah. I haven't heard that before, but I could see that where it's like, come on, that's not reality.
yeah,
And I actually kind of now I'm pretty much I can control my state of being, but before there was times where I learning from like Bob Proctor and Lisa Nichols, and they're on the movie The Secret, so it's all about law of attraction. So you're not seeing it in the now moment. It's like you're attracting it by your vibration, and becoming that person who has it and acting in the way and attracting in the way. But yeah, in the moment you're not going to see it. So it's kind of like, okay, like you're daydreaming, like you're not making any sense. Like look at your actual reality. It's not what you're kind of fantasizing about. But I think that's where like that understanding comes in, we like are the creators, I believe, so much so. And so when you can, like there's all these universal laws that you can work with. And so I just think, there's like, there's the law of gestation where it's like you plant a seed, or you're having a baby, and it's just going to take time. And so knowing that it takes time. But there's been a point where I was feeling like my reality is not showing that. What am I doing? But then I always go back to the knowing that my thoughts are creating the vibrational state of being that my body's in, and then that vibrational being is going to control my actions and my behaviors and my habits and what gets attracted to me. So I think the understanding and the study of like how your mind works, how the brain works, like these kind of principles is so helpful, because then when you are in that down moment, you can realize, okay, this is only going to attract more negative to me. Is like when I'm in this negative state, then also you have those glasses on of like at all times, there's also like the law of polarity. So at all times, there's always good and bad. So and it's funny because our perceptions are really creating our reality too. Because I can look outside and be like, it's such a beautiful sunny day. And then someone else can be like, it's so hot. Like, I'm sweaty. And, so it's like at all times you can always kind of, shift. But, I really believe in, creating the vision you want for yourself and living, because I feel like there's like our five senses, which is like see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. But what's really unseen that's even more powerful is like when you get to visualize something and, those vibrational, frequencies that you get to live on, the love that you have, like happiness, you can't like, I guess you could see it with like a smile, but all these things are unseen, and they're like even more real than all the things that you don't see. And so I think what I would say to somebody is think of a time where, you were, you manifested something, or you made something happen that seemed like it couldn't happen, but you made it happen. I know in my life, like when I graduated with my master's degree in business, I told myself, I don't want to go into a 9-to-5 job. I really want to, just be an entrepreneur, somehow, some way, that's what I want to do, so I can have more freedom with my time and just do something I love. And then people were telling me it's not possible. You don't have enough experience. You're too young. And I just kept the faith and the vision that this is what I want. And then right after, like my first job, I got to be a consultant. Someone said, we're actually looking for a marketing consultant. And I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I want to do. And that kind of opened the door. So I started there, then branched off. And so it's just, holding the faith. And even if it doesn't look like it, like when and I would say, go back into a scenario where something didn't look possible and it happened. Because then you have like a point of reference to go off of. So it's like, oh, like, this has happened before where I didn't think it was possible, but then it happened. So I would just say, if you're feeling like it's not looking like it now, think of a time when it didn't look like it and it happened. So then that'll give you some more faith that it's possible to happen again.
And I like Abraham's saying, like, be grateful for this gap. Otherwise, you're thinking something and bam, it's here on your doorstep. Like, no. I was just contemplating some thoughts, like, be grateful that it's not here immediately. Otherwise, you would have to be really careful with your thoughts. And that way, with a little gap or this gestation period, you said, you have some time for adjusting and like, oh, wow, that would be different. Or I need to focus on this that way. Or I like that. Like you can be in a trouble thought without having the bad situation manifested right away. That's like the the safety system in this whole manifestation game. I love what you say, like doors are opening, and that's like, if you're taking care of yourself and your thoughts and your mindset, then the doors seems to just open, and other people say it's so unfair, you're so lucky, and say, no, I'm doing a lot of work for my mindset and my thinking, and then the magic can happen.
Yeah, I think that's the magic word too, is like your thinking, because it all starts with our thinking, you know, and there's this book, Everything's Figureoutable, with Marie Forleo. And so she says, you know, track your thoughts for 7 days. Like, what are you thinking on a continuous basis? Because what you're thinking is really what's going to show up in your life. And so I recently started this 6-month abundance mastermind group. And some of the ladies, you know, I did that same thing our first week, is you do a thought tracker for the week and really, you know, think what you're thinking, or write down what you're thinking. And some of the people were thinking like, oh, you know, like, you're such an idiot, you shouldn't have done that, or like, you should know better. Like, that was some of the thoughts that they were having. And then on their outside results, they're not, you know, so a lot of them are business owners, like lady entrepreneurs. So they, on the outside, they're not making the offers to work with people, and because they're having those thoughts of, you know, like, oh, like, you're not doing a good job, your work isn't very valuable. Like, those are the thoughts that they're having internally. So then their actions or lack of action is because they're not believing in themselves because of those thoughts that they're having. So I think it's so important to really make sure, like, I always say, like, be your own best friend. Like, you would never tell your best friend, like, why did you do that? That was so stupid. Like, you tell them, like, no, like, you're trying and you're going to do it and you're going to make it happen, and just keep going. I believe in you. So I think we have to talk to ourselves like that and really be our own best friend and our biggest cheerleader and supporter. And it takes some, you know, getting used to, like any kind of habit that you put in place. But that's like a big one, I think, our thinking. And so our thinking, I do affirmations every day. So I tell myself, like, you're powerful, you're successful, you're a wealthy woman, people are getting great, you know, transformational results from working with you. So those are the words I'm telling myself. And then when I think that energy you put out, so when I'm talking to someone that, you know, I want to work with, then they feel that, you know, yeah, like, I'm giving transformational results to the people I work with. And then I'm feeling that, then they're feeling that. And I think there's so much, you know, the energy, people pick up on the energy more than they will your actual words anyways. So I think it's really important to, just stay in that high vibe and pump your own self up. I think I went on a tangent there, but I really think our thoughts are so important that we got to really watch what we're thinking. So important
and so powerful. And that's, I think, what most people don't know, not being aware of. I mean, you said the friend check. I love that too. Like, check what you say yourself and would you say it to a friend. And you said like a mild version. I mean, I heard in a retreat, we did this exercise and we had to say to our mirror what we tell ourselves. And it was devastating, like really, really the meanest stuff. Like, wow, don't say that to yourself. You're awesome, you know? So the friend check is a really good one. Like, don't call yourself an idiot or a fat cow every day, like 200 times. That's not healthy. Like, and just not fun.
No,
like, who would do that to you? Like, only you are so mean to yourself. So let's stop that and say, maybe you catch yourself like 10 times again, and then you catch yourself before you're thinking it, and then you could say something nice like, wow, you've got this, or something encouraging.
Yeah. And I really like Louise Hay. Have you heard of Louise Hay? Yeah. Hay has. So she always says to, like, look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you. Like, every morning, just say, I love you and I'm proud of you. And then she says, like, say you're enough and I approve of myself. So not only like, are you enough, but I approve of, you know, who you are and where you are and what you're doing. So those are really important. Those, like, look in the mirror and just talk to yourself and love on yourself.
I have a mirror workbook, I think, from Louise Hay. I don't know the author exactly. And it's in German translated. In German, some some phrases sound so clumsy, and in English it's so like a
Really?
melody. That's a little fun if you're familiar with both languages. Like, oh, term is so like so not harsh, but some like edgy language. But I love you saying I love you to the mirror. I have coaching clients. They say that's not I can't do that. And so yeah, well, you could try. Like, you're nice, or say just like getting to know somebody. You don't say some stranger I love you right away. So you have to get in contact first. But getting there is such a good feeling. I love you. You're great. Like saying that to yourself, like, why not? Come on.
Yeah.
You are with you 24/7. Why not being your best friend? That's like my persuasion, like people have to think that that's even possible first.
I know that's a really interesting concept. Yeah. I mean, you know what I think is also really, really important is forgiveness. Like, I think if you're holding on to a lot of guilt and shame and blame, and then you're not going to feel that you love yourself. So I think really forgiving yourself for anything in the past that, you might have done, like, be easy on yourself. Like, we're all learning, we're human, we're not perfect. So I think really forgiving yourself for anything in the past. And I think it's important to forgive anybody else that had hurt you in the past, because there's something, I don't know if it's where I found it, but they're saying if you're holding on to like anger, it's like holding on to a hot coal and then wanting to throw it at somebody, but you're the one burning from holding that. Or it's like throwing sand into the wind and it just gets in your eyes. Like it's like you're the only one that's suffering from it. So the other person's off living their life and you're holding on to that anger. So forgiving has been such a huge concept. And I study A Course in Miracles. I don't know if you've heard of that book, but it's a really beautiful textbook. It's called The Foundation for Inner Peace. And the foundation of that is really forgiveness, like, is what helps with the inner peace and being able to just be in that state of love when you can forgive and kind of see other people as, because I really, believe in the oneness. And so, seeing other people as yourself, like, there's all the different like ways to say that. I think the Bible says, like, I don't know, love thy neighbor, but just really, like being, nice to yourself, being nice to others, that others are doing the best they can with what they know. And, you never know what someone else is going through. So yeah, that forgiveness has been such a huge thing in helping bring me joy to you.
What's your favorite forgiveness technique or method, or what do you do for yourself? Or maybe also like first thing you tell a client, like the easiest exercise. What is your favorite to do forgiveness work?
Yeah, well, I would say, like, thinking about, well, I think everything kind of stems from our past, and then it's like the story gets brought up over and over and over again. But yeah, really thinking back to a time when you just, like, I don't know, were hard on yourself, or a time, like a big moment that you're holding on to that's blocking you from, maybe, like, I think it's hard to know like what you need to forgive, but when it's like, so like right now I'm doing this like money mentality makeover course with Amanda Francis, and she says one of her first steps is forgiveness too. And so it's forgiving yourself for any like money mistakes you maybe made in the past, where it's like, maybe I was gambling and lost money, or I, spent money where I shouldn't have, somebody stole some money from me. So I think it's, first kind of figuring out, because there's probably so many areas that we need to forgive, but but kind of maybe going like each step at a time, maybe relationship wise, like forgiving someone if maybe, they left you or they cheated on you, or maybe you were doing something unfaithful or wrong. So I kind of think maybe like taking it bit by bit. So first maybe focus on your relationships or your money issues, or maybe, there's something blocking you. Like, so I would just kind of think, there's probably so many areas, but thinking about like what your goals are, what you want to accomplish, and what's stopping you. And you'll know like what's stopping you by like maybe, so some people that I work with, they want to show up, but then they have a fear of like visibility. And then that stems from when their mom was harsh on them when they did bad on a school play or a spelling bee. So it's kind of just like, something that you really want to accomplish, or you do maybe have some goals that you want to accomplish, but you're not achieving them. So then it's kind of looking back into when was the first time, why am I not achieving it? So if it's like the visibility, looking back, so when was the first time that I felt like it wasn't safe to be visible? And so, so it was like, oh, then I realized, oh yeah, my mom shunned me for, saying something wrong at a school play or something. So it's like going back to that time when it first happened for you, and then kind of forgiving that, and then seeing how that plays out in other areas of your life, because it's all like really patterns, and we kind of tell ourselves that same story, not even realizing it, where it's like, like you're living your life today, so but you're living it from that 6-year-old self that was getting made fun of when they were a little kid. So it's like, having to forgive that. So I know, like, when I was younger, I was bullied. I had these 2 stepsisters growing up, and I was the only child, so maybe that's just how like kids play, and I think people are doing the best they can with what they know, and so maybe that was the best that they could have done at the time. So I really had to forgive them, and that's kind of the way that I did the forgiveness lesson, is really knowing that they were doing the best they can with what they knew at the time, and it wasn't that like they had really harsh malicious, or maybe they did, but maybe that they had experienced that in their life. So I know my mom, they went through this whole like cycle of abuse, like, just my grandma, and then her mom, and then, so my mom really like stopped the cycle of abuse, and I'm so grateful for that. But, but she had to go back and like forgive those situations. And so, I think it's just going back into the time where it first happened for you, and then realizing like that story plays out over and over in patterns in your life. And so going back to that first time, and there's always like that first time that you can really think of where you felt like it wasn't safe to do something.
And then what do you do? Do you have a ritual, or you just say, I forgive you, and that's it?
Yeah. So there's this thing with the Course in Miracles, and it just says, and also I think Denise Duffield Thomas, she has that book, Get Rich Lucky Bee book. And so so she says like, I forgive you, I thank you, I'm sorry, and I love you. So basically, like, I forgive you, I forgive myself for the part that I played, I thank you for the lesson, I see you, and then I'm thank you for the lesson, I'm sorry, and I release you. Then you want to release it and let it go completely. And so like once you do that, then you can, and then also what A Course in Miracles says is help me to see things differently. So that's kind of where you see them as, that little child that doesn't know better. So that's kind of my process on forgiveness.
Yeah, and it's so cool. It's like layers of an onion. Then you're free of that, and then there is the ripple effect of that not playing out anymore. And then it's like everything gets easier. Like all of a sudden, like, wow, okay, now I can be visible without overthinking something. That's and then it's kind of magical again. But you did the work for that experience, and that's not easy all the time. But it's worth. Like you said, with the coal, I know that it's a Buddha quote. I know, but maybe it's a different. Buddha never said that if you hate somebody and you hold on to this hatred, you are drinking poison and hope that the other dies, and it's just you.
Yeah.
It's the same what you said with the sand and with the coal. But hey.
I heard that one too. It's so true, like, and another thing too, like I remember like my mom, she had a lot of forgiveness like lessons to do when I was talking to her, and she felt like if I forgive them, then I'm making what happened okay. And like, no, you're not making it what happened okay, you're just doing it so that you can live at peace, go back to being happy and living a good life.
Yeah, the person who did something really, really bad or really devastating, this person has to deal with that situation in his or her way. Like, it's not your business to make that okay for them. It's really for yourself. And then it's worth it's not easy, but it's worth it to break free from these memories.
Yeah, and I'm curious. Yeah, I was just what brings you joy? I was just curious about that.
For me, it's also the little things, like when you tell like the roses and like just having a dog, or like all the little things. I'm posting about that a lot on social media because I think it's so important to show that that's possible. I don't need to go to a vacation. I love to go to a vacation, but being happy and joyful is an everyday game for me, and also a decision. And just like it's so wonderful weather here. It's cold in the morning and in the evening, but lunchtime is really warm, and winter is long in Switzerland, you know. So like taking it all in, and this golden light in the evening, and then I love taking pictures. So just walking home, or our super boring, like get off of the public transportation to our home, it's 3 minutes, and just enjoy this walk to the fullest, because the light is so beautiful and I'm with my girl. And then, and not always, but most of the time, I'm just super grateful for, as you said, even for the toilet. And for, I'm going to our mountain cabin next week, and I have a gorgeous photo shooting with a brand photo shooter, and I'm so excited about it. And the weather is beautiful. We didn't know, like when we planned, that this week will be great. I'm so thankful, and I really was like, please. And then, you know, Abraham Hicks, don't think too much. I attracted now this beautiful weather. And in the cabin, we don't have fluent water, no tap, and you have to carry the water from the fountain to the house. No electricity. It's a wooden stove, and you heat with wood. So after coming back from a time up there, and it's so beautiful, you know, it's just slower, and you have to heat the water if you want hot water. Then coming home, it's like, wow, I'm living in a luxurious resort here, and our apartment is quite small, you know, but seeing all these things in perspective, as you said in the beginning. And what I'm sometimes struggling a lot is like, I had such a good life, you know. I was bullied too, and had some complicated situations, as like I was not so socially fit when I was a child. I was always so shy and bullied for that and everything. But I had such a beautiful childhood, and how can I say like, yeah, you have to focus on the good, you know, when you have really, really challenging circumstances. It's just sometimes it's an offending thing to say, focus on the good, be grateful. How do you deal with that? You know, but then I say, yeah, even though it's just making you feel better if you try to do so, but it's kind of too easy for me to say that. I feel that sometimes.
Oh yeah, no, I felt the same way too, because I've kind of just live pretty happy, and people don't get it. And yeah, I mean, it's just those principles of just the smallest little baby step of you know, it's gonna be okay. Like things have happened in the past, and I think it's really important. So I have a really, you know, it's more this last like year or so, the spiritual foundation. But I think it's important for people to have that, where, you know, whatever it is for you. Like my mom was more of like a hippie and was like peace and love and sunshine, and so her going out into nature kind of boosted her mood, and that was her feeling connected and, you know, like one with everything. But for me, it's knowing, you know, that feeling of I'm guided and I'm protected and I'm loved by something, you know, bigger than this problem that I'm having. So I think that it's good to, so I think it's really important for everyone to kind of have that spiritual foundation, not necessarily religious where it has to be like a religion, but just that knowing that like there's something bigger than you that loves you and that created you for something good. I think that's really important. So that will help people, because I think when I was younger too, and I was going through, you know, my depression, it was because I felt I was like alone in the world. Like I felt like I'm being bullied. You know, at the time my dad was working all the time nonstop to give us a good life, right? And all I really wanted was just like a hug from him. But he was working all the time. At the time my mom was in rehab. So I just felt so alone. And so it's like, I think, no, when you have that spiritual foundation that you're never alone, and that you're always, you know, with spirit, and you're always, you know, guided, then I think that is really important, like a knowing. So I think everyone should kind of find that, whatever that is for themselves. That will bring a lot of peace and joy, because that feeling like you're alone in whatever situation you're going through is really tough. But knowing that you're not alone is the solution, I would say.
How did you find that? Did it occur like all of a sudden, or was it a process too? Or how having this feeling, I have it too. It's just the best. But how do you find it if you don't have it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like a lot of times people will find it through like a rock bottom moment. And that's why, those rock bottom moments aren't so bad, because if then from that one rock bottom moment, you can live the rest of your life connected and feeling not alone, then that's not really like that horrible if it's that one moment. But at the time I was in it, like when I was in college, I was in like an abusive relationship. And so from there, that was like my rock bottom moment. And at the time I didn't believe, like I didn't have really a spiritual foundation at all. And so my friend was like, do you want to go to church with me? And I was like, well, sure. I have nothing, why not? Whatever. So I went. And then when I was there, there was like this rock band going on in the beginning. It was like this Dream Center in LA church. And so yeah, they had like the rock band going. I just felt like the beauty of like the song, and the words really spoke to me. And then there's this little boy, probably like 4 or 5 years old, like, and I started crying because of everything I was going through. And I just felt, really connected to everyone there. And the energy was just so lively. And this little boy came and like gave me a hug on my leg. And I was like, oh my God, this is the cutest thing ever. And so, so that's when I started, that's kind of what started the foundation for me, is I felt this energy of like, wow, like, I'm not alone in this. And the words that they were saying, really spoke to me. So that was my first, like coming to spirituality. But that was like a Christian church. And then as I started really studying the religion, I just didn't agree so much with all of the like rules, and there's sin, and do this, don't do that. And like, you're wrong if you do this. And so some of the things I didn't 100% agree with. So now I say I'm more like spiritual than religious. And then I had this experience probably like 2 years ago now, in 2018 in July. And I got into meditation, so that helps. That kind of like helps connect you to spirit, where you realize like I'm the thinker, like I am, but then there's the thoughts and the outside and everything, but you are that I am presence. And so then, so that meditation helps because you see the thoughts come and go, and you're still, and you are still there, like your spirit is still there. So I had this experience. I was kind of waking up, and I always do a little meditation in the morning, and like thank you for another day. And then I had this like feeling come over me where it's like, it was just so like expansive and all knowing and so peaceful and so loving. And it was just like, all is well, we are all connected. Like, it was just this like blissful state of like almost like ecstasy, and it was just like, I was just laying in my bed, but I almost felt like I wasn't in my bed anymore. It was just like this like beautiful, beautiful, loving presence of peace and knowing and calmness. And I don't even know how long that state of being lasted. Maybe it was like 5 seconds, maybe it was 30 minutes. Like, it was just so like, time was irrelevant. Like, and so I know like with the Course in Miracles, they say that's like a revelation where you have that experience. I feel like that was my experience of being in the presence of God, or what it would be like if you're in heaven. And so that kind of sparked a huge like fire in me that like, yeah, like that is the truth. And that's not even anything physical, but it felt so real. Like, so that was kind of my spiritual experience.
And now you can go back to this feeling all the time whenever you want, or is it like you need a meditation for tuning in? Or
yeah, I can go back to the knowing of the feeling, but yeah, then I can kind of have to like get back. But I can pretty much go to that state when I want to. It's like, okay, this is, the truth is, when something outside of me is going, not as ideal, then I just say, okay, the truth, that's my truth, is that, infinite peace and love and, oneness and being guided and like bliss, that's my truth. And so I can go back to that. So when I'm in that down state, it's more of a knowing of that and like the thoughts, but then I can go back into the feelings too sometimes.
And I think that's what Abraham Hicks called the alignment. If you feel like I'm on my way, everything is working out for me, and this connection, then you're like in power mode. It's so cool to be. And then it can be a boring, ordinary day, and you're just having the best day ever. I think that's the art for me. That's the art of being alive and the stage of life, and you're just stepping on it, sometimes louder, sometimes more quiet, but yeah, it's game time every day. You have the choices, you can choose what you think, what you say, what you do, it's so powerful. We are so powerful. And as you said,
We're
the
so
creator,
powerful.
we're creating our day.
Yeah. And I love that you were saying like you're happy that you're going on a vacation, but it's not about the vacation that makes you happy. It's not the destination. It's the every day, the sunshine, the flowers, the just being alive. And yeah. And I like the mantra. I think that's gonna be my mantra for today. Everything's working out for me. Everything's working out for me. I love that.
Yeah, I like this rampage of everything is working out for me. Somebody did this compilation on YouTube of Abraham Hicks, and it's just so soothing. Like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I have to smile every time I listen. I don't know how many times I listened to that already, and I just love it. And sometimes it's like medicine, you know. And Denise Duffield Talmant says that so like very cool. You have to shower like every day or every second day. You can't shower and then it's done for the year, you know, like mindset work is ongoing too. You have to, no, you don't have to, but if you want to be in a happy state, you have to work on it, like with all the tricks you have and you like, and don't do things you hate every day to get happy. Just find how you can tune into this
Yeah, that's
cool feeling.
yeah, that's so important. Yeah, finding what it is for you. Yeah. So like for me it's dancing, but some people they don't like to dance. So whatever it is for you, right? Finding that joy.
And you said in the beginning that you help people to find their passion. And I think it's just the only way to go through life, to do what you're passionate about. How dull is it to do things you hate all the time? That's just not healthy. But so many people are feeling trapped in a job they hate or whatever it is. And how do you help me to find my passion if I book your coaching or your services and I say, I don't know what I want, but I know that I don't want it anymore like this. That's the first step, right? That you have, you
Yeah.
know that you want to change something.
Yeah.
Otherwise
So,
it's,
right. Yeah. Knowing what you don't want is so important. But I would say, like, what do you do that gets you, like, you lose track of time? Like, you are just in the flow. Like, you'll do it for hours and hours and hours and forget to eat. I mean, that's when you know you're doing something that you love. That's how you find your passion. Or, like, what's keeping you up at night? Like, for me, like I would stay up at night, like, just doing research on like spirituality and like personal growth and all these things, like, that would just keep me up at night because I want to be the very best version of myself. And so I would just, some people like, I don't know, video games, and I would just be up watching these documentaries and webinars, like, so like that's how I know like that's what I'm passionate about. And so like what keeps you up at night, what do you get lost doing, maybe like what did you even love as a child, because so many people lose that childlike fun state of being that they think, now that I'm an adult I have to be serious. And so what did you daydream about when you were younger, like going back to that state, and then also like testing out different things, like maybe like you thought you wanted to be, for me I thought I wanted to be a marketing consultant, so do it, just try it, like, and then if it's actually not something you want, then do something else, but don't be afraid to take the risk, and keep trying until you really find what it is that does make you happy, and know that it's okay to pivot, and also it's okay to fail, and there's really no failure because you're just learning. But so many people, they don't try because they're afraid they're going to fail or not be good at it. But I think if you go in with the knowing you're going to fail, so it's like but fail, but not really fail. No one's going to get it right the first time. Even like Einstein took like 10,000 times before he got the light bulb right, but no one thinks about the 10,000 times he did it wrong. And I think there's also like Michael Jordan has this quote where it's like, I missed like 2,000 shots, but I made like 100, or like even, yeah, all these people where it's like, you're not going to make all of them. That's just like unrealistic. So I think knowing that, it's okay to go out there and not be good at it. Like no one's going to be good right away. There's also this thing of saying like with the baby, that's going to try to walk, you're not going to be like, you're not going to get this, just give up, just stop trying. Like, you're going to just keep going until it works. And so, I would just say, keep trying, different things, and having that like energetic, like it's going to work out, then that'll help guide you. And then getting into meditation, that's been like more recently for me, but you'll find answers and guidance in meditation when you quiet all that, like they say, like a monkey mind where they're jumping, branch to branch and thought to thought, where you can just be quiet and then like tune in to like what like inside like answers come from you. and then not having to like, think about, because if you're thinking so much, you might think, oh, like this is what, I can do to make money, or this is what I can do to, please my parents or please my partner, or, but it's like when you're quiet and you don't let all those thoughts get shut down, then you can just like, have that wisdom that we all have within inside us. That'll kind of come out and show it to you as well. So I think.
I love it. And it's so true. But the failure thing, do you know Sarah Blakely, the inventor of Spanx?
Yeah.
The coolest. And I think her dad encouraged the two kids to fail every day. And that's such a different approach. My mother I played the violin, and she always said, now play it without mistake for one time, like this pressure of without mistake. I think it's so ingrained in us. And if you have a parent that says, if you don't have like several failures today, you didn't try anything, I think that's so cool. And that's what she says, like that helped me immensely. Either I fail and then I have a funny story to tell, or I succeed. And until it works out, you just go for it. If you're passionate enough about that, and maybe you find out that, no, I don't want to do that. And then quitting is something considered a failure too, I think, in society. Like, oh, you don't do that anymore? Did you fail? Like, no, I just stopped because I didn't want to do it anymore. It's so interesting, this influence of outside, of all these expectations of society, and first of your parents and your surrounding.
Big time. Oh yeah.
And I think if you get aware of the expectations first and then figure out what do I want, that's a good first step too.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's so important. Love it.
It's like this universe, and everything is possible, and we're playing this game of life here, and it's so beautiful if we want to, because your dog walk, you could present the same walk to somebody else, and this person would focus on, as you said, on all the bad things, and it's the same distance, the same surrounding, and this person has a totally different experience.
Yeah. And I think even changing our words, I think our words have so much power, because like before, sometimes, like I feel like this has been more recent, but I changed it a while ago. I used to get really like annoyed when my dog would like stop and smell everything, and I'm like, come on, we're walking, like let's go. And then now I'm just like, I know there's lots of smells, and I'm like, come on, love, or let's go, babe, like just like using my language where it's like loving, and not like I'm like, oh my gosh, you're always stopping. I'm just like, I know there's lots of good smells, we got to keep going. So it's like changing your language around it. I think that'll change your state, and then change, how you look at it too. So.
And you got inspired to smell at the roses by your dog.
Oh, yeah, right.
Smell at good things is for us too. I just see you, like you're living in San Francisco, right? Or yeah.
Very close by. Yeah.
Yeah. So just imagining you walking by this rose bush makes me so happy that we are able to connect in this way, like visual and with sound. I'm so grateful for internet every single day. Like for some people it's evil, even social media, like ooh, so many bad stuff, and I have so many good things happening because of this technology. I just love it.
Yes, I love it too. That's so amazing.
And just staying in touch, that makes me so happy too. I had 30 pen pals when I was a kid. I was running to the mailbox every day, and fair enough, 30. It was a lot of work, but nearly every day I had a letter in there. And now Facebook is kind of, I can be in touch with all my friends and Ken's families in Japan. It's this international bond I feel connected to that makes me so happy, and it makes me just happy talking to you. It's just like,
yay! I love that.
And we met at Brendon's event.
Yeah.
Because I went to Bo Eason's event afterwards, and some people were the same, so I'm mixing up sometimes with who did I meet there, but you were at Brendon's event.
Yeah, I know. And Brendon says, bring the joy. And I think, you do a really good job at that. You're like, oh, I love technology. I love, and I think, when you say that, you find solutions. Like Einstein says, the most important question you can ask yourself is, do we live in a friendly universe? And if you say yes, then you're going to find all the friendly and good things. Or you say no, then you're going to find all the, it's like, what lens are you using to look at the world? So, yeah.
It's again the focus, and that's again the thoughts. They're so powerful, and language, I think, is super, super powerful too, with everybody, with children, with animals, with people. Children are people too, but with grown-ups. And with yourself, as you said, like the self-talk. I just did a blog video about exact that topic because it's so important, and it's like a bad virus in society, this bad self-talk all day long. It's just having such a big impact. Yeah. When did you get aware of that?
I think I really became aware of it. Like in 2018, I did this Bob Proctor program called Thinking into Results. And so, that's when I think I really became aware of like checking my thoughts, where, then I was like, cause it's like our thoughts become our reality. So then I was like, oh man, well, what am I thinking? And so, then I was like, wow, I really need to make sure I'm thinking, positive thoughts, because what I'm thinking is coming true. Like, even if you say like, oh, I'm so overweight, then what you're going to do is, maybe there'll be like a cookie there and you'll eat it because like, I'm overweight anyways, or like you have a choice to go for a run or watch a TV show. And then you're like, your self-image and what you think of yourself is like not like a healthy fit person. So you're maybe not going to do those actions that a healthy fit person would do because your thoughts are telling you that you're not. So I think that was probably when I had that big realization wake up, was in 2018 with that program.
What would be like, do you know Kat Loturso, or she says now Kath Root or something? It's an Australian power millionaire woman. And I like her. She said, like, if you had 1 minute and the whole world would listen to you, what would you tell the world? Like, what's your message? 1 minute, you can have more. Like, everybody's listening. Terri is telling what's important.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is really be gentle and be kind to yourself, because, we are, like, we have to live with ourselves. We have to wake up with ourselves. We have to go to sleep with ourselves. So be gentle, be kind. Do what lights you up. Do what you love, because like, this is our life. And really be present in the now moment, because right now is all we have all the time. So be joyful now. Like, everything's happening in the now moment. So I would really, make sure that you are connecting to your soul and doing what lights you up, and forgive anything in the past that's ever like, that's bringing any kind of like hatred. If it's yourself, any shame, blame, really forgive yourself for anything, so you can come back to that peace and come back to that joy, because joy, love, peace, like that is our essence of being. And that's the way it should be. A lot of people think, like they watch the news, and really be aware of your thoughts, be aware of the people you're hanging out with, and be aware of what you're like letting, like what you're consuming and internalizing. And just really, become the very best version of yourself, and do it for you. Don't do it for anyone else, because you're worth it, and you're worthy, and you matter, and you're so loved. And know that you're so loved, and you're never alone.
I love it. You said so. I just imagine my assistant like taking notes. We're like, oh, come on. It's impossible to write down what you said in this amount of time. Oh, that's so beautiful. And it's so true. And that's Abraham Hicks too, what I love so much. Like they saying, we are so sorry that you're taking this life so serious. You're just here to have fun and joy. Like, oh wow, really? It's hard. I have to work for my money, And then this possibility of really just joyful and having fun. I love that. It's like a permission to have a fun life. And maybe others are offended or triggered, but that's not my problem. And then I can spread the word that you can design that for yourself too.
Yeah. Just be the light and let your light shine. The world needs more light, for sure.
Yes. And you're shining bright. And you're always, when you make a comment on some social media of myself, I'm like, oh, it's like a present. That's what I love about social media. If you're kind in social media, again, you can, the ripple effect is happening there too. And being kind and authentically like grateful or commenting, it's just powerful. It's also words and thoughts, and that's having an impact.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for your time and for your energy and for your light and for your shining and for your wisdom. It was so nice talking to you.
Oh, it was such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And take care with everything happening in great, wonderful America. I was there in kindergarten when I was 4 in Iowa City. So I really loved the United States. And I'm sending so much love and good energy over the ocean.
I feel it. I receive it.
Thank you so much. Take care of yourself and talk to you soon another time. And thank you for today. Bye. If you liked this episode, I look forward to a review from you, and it would be so nice to hear from you what you liked best and what is your takeaway, and maybe it sparked some idea. You really are surprised to have this idea now, and you can go and create joy for your life. And please tell me about it. I would love to hear from you. My contact details, you will find them in the show notes. Have a wonderful day.